Sack, who's advisor to Ukraine's Ministry of Strategic Industries. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. We really appreciate it. Really interesting listening to President Zelensky speaking on the back of, well, that was before the cabinet meeting had happened. What do you make of what President Trump said in that cabinet meeting, specifically when he was asked about security guarantees? And he said, essentially, it's not down to us, that's down to the European Union.
First of all, I would like to say that it is very important that both sides, Ukraine and the United States of America, have now agreed on this preliminary framework agreement. And of course, it's only a part of a broader architecture of the negotiating process, the objective of which is, of course, to end the war in Ukraine. And I would like to also say that, this maybe remind ourselves that this is not a war for critical minerals. This is a war for values. This is an aggression of one country on Ukraine, on an independent sovereign state. This is a genocide of the Ukrainian people. So while we understand that certain transactional rhetoric must take place at some point, but actually it was our idea, it was Ukrainian idea earlier when we presented to the world, our president presented to all our partners his victory plan. So it was our idea to include our critical minerals and rare earth minerals in the broader architecture of security. So it is very good that our presidents will meet on Friday. It is very hopeful that they will sign this broad framework agreement, and at a later stage it will have to be supplemented by more nuanced, more detailed agreements covering different aspects, including security guarantees.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard about the agreement, but not in sort of any great detail. Is there anything that you would expect to be there, or anything that you can share on that front?
Well, at the moment, it's a comprehensive but framework agreement. So it leaves open this, opportunities for discussion. We have seen in the last couple of days that this is not going to be an easy and negotiating process. So from that perspective, it is important to start the next stages from a broad platform. And this is exactly what this framework agreement provides.
How much pressure is President Zelensky going to be under on Friday to sign this agreement? Donald Trump has already said President Zelensky will sign it. Is there any way that that he can push back?
After 3 years of this large-scale invasion and of the war, you can imagine that there are very few things that can put President Zelensky under pressure. But of course, he's very driven by this objective. He wants to, like he said, he wants to end this war in 2025. And of course, he will be talking to Donald Trump about, most importantly, about understanding that no agreement of this kind will stand a chance if there are no meaningful and robust and comprehensive security guarantees. Because how can we imagine foreign investors coming into Ukraine if they know that sometime later, in a month or 2 or 6, Russians can re-invade? So these security guarantees, they're not just about Ukraine. And we do need to close our sky. We do need our allies to use their air forces to protect, Western Ukraine, to protect Odessa from the incessant missiles and Russian and Iranian drones. But at the same time, these security guarantees are important for those who will, in the end, benefit from this agreement. So, we look at this agreement as a fair partnership agreement. It will be about investment, about future exploration of our rich deposits of these critical minerals. But at the same time, they cannot be decoupled from security guarantees, because it will just make them redundant, make the agreement redundant if they're not there.
Mr. Sack, lots has been said over the last month about Ukraine feeling sidelined when these discussions between the US and Russia were happening, and that Ukraine wasn't part of those, wasn't at the table. Are you confident now that with this meeting between President Zelensky and President Trump on Friday, that Ukraine is back at the table?
During the commemoration of the 3rd year of this large-scale invasion just a few days ago, when our President Zelensky was asked, how did he feel about these dynamics of this negotiating process, he said it very clearly and openly, actually, that of course he would like to be the first to speak to Donald Trump going forward in this negotiating process, because it is important for them to meet face to face, and President Zelensky wants to be there and to have an opportunity to deliver these important messages. before Donald Trump meets the Russian leader. So I think it's very important from the practical perspective, and it's very symbolic as well.
Okay. Yuriy, advisor to Ukraine's Ministry of Strategic Industries. Thank you.